Merci, Cho. Sinez and Jan, no tani yai. Si Danisu Cleaning has slew, doing I Nizu. Sineza. Good evening, hello. I'm a Dene Suthline Dene speaking woman from northern Saskatchewan. My greetings that I did is in my language of Dene, which I speak very closely still to my heart. It is so great to be among friends and colleagues here in Ottawa. I see in the audience Ryan Miley, who's a very good friend of mine and a fellow person from Saskatchewan, as well as another Jordan there from Saskatchewan. Every time I see people from the prairies, it means a lot to me. And thank you, Elder. Where I come from, we honor and respect elders, and we do the same when we open a meeting or an event. We invite an elder and speak, do the opening remarks and opening prayer. So that really is close to our heart, my heart. Looking around the room right now and seeing so many intelligent and thought-provoking people from across Canada is truly heartwarming. Many of you I've met in the past, and I know that you're committed to improving the lives and well-being of Indigenous people in Canada. Many of you I haven't yet had the pleasure of meeting, but your presence here shows how you've acknowledged your role in reconciliation and your willingness to share your ideas to benefit everyone here in Canada. I truly hope that you don't shy away from sharing your experiences, your stories, your optimism over the next couple of days. I'd like to begin by addressing an elephant in the room. You were expecting my friend and colleague, Jagmeet Singh, and I'm noticeably not him. Unfortunately, Jagmeet Singh had other commitments down east, he's in Charlottetown, I believe, today. So he had double booked. And so to replace him, he had asked me, which I'm quite honored to be here, because the topic that we're talking about is really close to my heart. So he does send his best wishes and truly values the reconciliation process. Just as everyone here, I hope, has reflected on their role in the reconciliation process, I have also thought long and hard about what I can do to help rebuild Canada's relationship with Indigenous people. Because that's what we're really talking about when we say reconciliation. Rethinking and rebuilding a relationship between Indigenous people and Canadian society. The more I think about what my place is, the more I realize that my situation is complicated, complex, and difficult. I'm an Indigenous woman from northern Saskatchewan. I'm Dene, and I lived in La Loge all my life, for the exception of the years when I lived in Saskatoon for 4 years to get a degree, and then in 8 years to work in the field of health and in the field of justice and community development, and working on relationships between Indigenous community and Canadian Society of Saskatoon and the province of Saskatchewan. The times that I grew up in La Loge, my grandparents, who are late and deceased, played a significant role in shaping my life as a Dene person. They took the time to teach me and my brothers and sisters about the Dene values and the Dene language. My mom and dad are still in the picture, and were always still in the picture when we were growing up. We had such close, extended family relationship. It was really significant. So for the first 20 years of my life, except when I went to the elementary school and high school, my predominant language is Dene. The few times that I would speak English is when I was learning to speak English in school. So Dene is my first language, and English is my second language. And to this day, in this job that I'm doing, my accent comes out when I'm speaking about issues that are relevant to northern Saskatchewan, to Indigenous people across Canada. I work closely with Indigenous people, First Nations and non-status, the Métis and the Inuit and other Indigenous Canadians across Canada. We share the same values when it comes to health, when it comes to wellness, when it comes to family, when it comes to building, rebuilding, healing, community healing, personal healing, and all other aspects. We speak the same language. Just last week, I had the privilege of attending a conference in Winnipeg. I also had the privilege of attending a very significant event of honoring and remembering the late Tina Fontaine. And I had the privilege of meeting the auntie and the uncle, a sister, and other friends and relatives of the late Tina Fontaine. The federal government was able to give funding for a youth all-night center for youth of young people who live homeless in the city of Winnipeg. I had the privilege of being among them. And when I heard stories from the aunt and uncle, I heard about the same pain of having family with chronic health issues, with homelessness, with addictions, and the importance of having a relationship with law enforcement, healthcare system, education, both federal and provincial, municipal, and band level, coming together. When I worked in Saskatoon and the experiences that I've had with the city of Saskatoon, the health region, the city of Saskatoon Police Services, the RCMP, Prince Albert, same thing was in Prince Albert, and in Meadow Lake it's the same thing. In my line of work today as a member of parliament, when I listen to and when I hear various professions from law enforcement, healthcare system, community elders, First Nations, municipalities, province, the federal level, and I hear the same thing. It doesn't matter where we are and what our messages are. And then I had the privilege of attending the Métis Summit on the Child Welfare Services. I had the privilege of listening to young people in a panel who were misplaced, who grew up in the social services system. The majority of them, all of them in fact, overcame severe challenges, and they're doing really well and still struggling in some aspects, but are doing really well on the healing, reconciliation, and being part of community. I will also listen to the panel of survivors who were part of 60 Scooped. And their pain, I was privileged to listen to their stories when they talked about what they experienced. But the beautiful part was when they said about what to expect on healing, reconciliation, community building, relationship with Canadians and the institutions, and moving forward. They had the same message. We as Indigenous people value our lives. We as Indigenous people value our young people, and they're included in how we are shaped, how we view our lives today, and how we move forward. And they had messages about the importance of family, and the importance of extended family and friends in their lives and how they move forward. As Indigenous person across Canada, it is an honor and privilege when I hear even the leader, Nathan Obed. He is to me, one of the most thoughtful, thought-provoking young leader who plays a significant role in how the Canadian government plays a significant role in shaping the next 150 years. And when I hear my chief, Perry Bellegarde, and when I hear the MNC president, Clem Chartier, speak on behalf of the Métis people, they share their stories and similar hopes. Healing reconciliation is about coming together. And then when we share stories, listen to the stories that are being shared. Listen to the pain and the heartbreaking stories. Unfortunately, our Canadian history, when it comes to Indigenous people, we have so much pain attached to us. We also have hope. We also have ways to contribute to building a better Canadian society in Canada. We play a significant role in law enforcement, in politics, in healthcare system. I have First Nation Métis friends who are physicians. I have First Nations and Métis friends and the Inuit people who are nurses, lab technicians, and in various professional healthcare system, from mental health therapists to counseling to addictions. We, the professional Indigenous people, we walk in various levels because we are here to make a difference, and we are here that we want to work with you. But be open to listen to our stories. I have personal stories about trauma. I have personal stories about even today, when I go home in the community of La Loche, and then when I go into the riding in northern Saskatchewan, my family and friends about suicide, and knowing young people who commit suicide and who go through that, addictions, and other painful stories. Personal friends of mine who went through 60 Scoop, personal friends of mine and family members and other community members who went through day school, boarding schools, residential schools, and other painful historical events that we've gone through. I have stories like that. Many of our Indigenous people in different professions have those experiences. Over the years, I had the privilege of working with RCMP officers who were First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. They became law enforcement officers. They walk in different paths, and yet they're committed to building that relationship and reconciliation. I have friends who are lawyers. I have friends who are physicians, nurses, teachers, doctors, social workers, and the list go on. And then we also know the youth, the elders, and the community members. When I speak to communities, I value the relationship between the RCMP, the community, and the reserve. I value the relationship between the healthcare professions, the professionals, the services they provide in municipalities and on reserve, band center, on the health centers, the physicians, the nurses, the nurse practitioners, the mental health therapists, and then the leadership, chiefs and councils, mayors and councils, school board directors, the list go on. The significance that health and wellness that we feel in our communities, we want to share them with you. But be open to hear all sides, and be open to hear some of the suggestions that we provide to you. Because some suggestions will be different from the mainstream institutional suggestions that you may have. They are different. When I hear the youth speak, I'm thinking, how am I going to share this with the institutions, the various professions? How are we going to build that bridge? How are we going to build the community and to rethink? Because the youth, they're at a different level. The moms and dads are at a different level. The elders, the community are at different levels than you are. But you are very significant to us because you are our ambassadors. You make decisions that affect us. Me in politics, I've been very fortunate to sit in the likes and work with Thomas Mulcair, Jagmeet Singh from my political party, but also have the privilege of listening to the Prime Minister of Canada and listening to the Conservative Party, the Bloc Québécois, the Green Party, at the hardcore of colonialism, the House of Commons. I speak Dene and I experience racism. I speak Dene and I experience exclusion because the way I'm thinking from northern Saskatchewan. It's different from the way of thinking in Ottawa. So I have to take the time to teach my colleagues and ways to build bridges. So with that, this upstream closing the gap, over the years, I had the privilege of listening to Dr. Ryan Miley, my friend and my colleague. I had the privilege of listening to other physicians, such as Dr. Khan, Abraham Khan from Saskatchewan, and various other physicians, Dr. Dutt, throughout the years, the nurses, the youth, the elders. It's okay for you to take the time to listen to our stories because we value your commitment to help us improve our lives in our provinces, in our territories, and in Canada from coast to coast to coast. So with that, Marcicho, Sine Sasarut Ai, Nohayaiti, Lanestanu, Sayatia. With that, I want to say thank you for listening to my story, the importance that we all have in our languages, in our homes, in our workforce, our environments, at the workplace, and everywhere we go as Canadians. We are building a better future for all of us, but for the youth and our elders and our communities. We all play a significant role in that. Marcicho. Thank you.